What's up, people? Welcome to week 3. I was about to do this, but that looks like 6. Week 3 of 1102. Spring semester, even though it doesn't feel like spring, it's still winter. Woo! I don't want to do too much intro kicking in, all that kind of stuff, because it's 8:36. I want to be done with this by in 30 minutes from now. And I feel like the last couple of lectures, last two, I've been running out of time, which is not difficult for me. I do not work well within time limit boundaries, and usually when I teach my high school classes, I will just teach, and then whatever I run out, if I run out of time, I just pick up the next day. But with y'all, I can't do that though, because these are just weekly lectures. So I try to do one a week, and that's it. Okay, and here I am just talking, and when I said I wasn't, great. So here we go. All right. Let's look at what we are doing today. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Oh my God, what are we doing? I don't even know. I don't want that screen. I want screen 3. That's it right there. There it is. Share screen 3. Okay. So, list of assignments and due dates. This is what we're doing today. We're going to talk about understanding theme in the readings, big truths versus little truths. We're going to go over the expected work, and we're going to go over student sample work to demonstrate quality. Okay, actually, we're doing this all in reverse. All in reverse. We're going to begin with student work. I'm going to go over some of the annotated bibliographies. Then we're going to go over the expected work for this week. And then that's going to add, I think, importance and significance to understanding theme. Okay. I think knowing that the work that you're going to be doing this week relies on understanding theme and big truths versus little truths, then it makes it much more meaningful. Yes, meaningful. So let's look at a few of these annotated bibliographies. Okay. And I left for you on your annotated bibliographies, I left comments for your grades. There should, unless you make it 100, there's always a comment. Okay. And generally, there's each error you make is 5 points. Sometimes I ignore 1 or 2. Okay. But like your grade is pretty much calculated by like 5 points per error. So if I highlight something that you did incorrectly, then you got a 95. If you have 3 errors, that's about an 85. Okay. Sometimes I'll just stop at like 60. If you have everything there, but you just have a lot of errors, I might stop at 60, even if you have way more than what is that, 8 errors. Okay. But generally, at least 1 error. And if you make the same error multiple times, sometimes that also, each of those count. Okay. So if you make a 60 on your paper, on your homework, you should see that there are at least 8 errors. Okay. If you ever, or that like you're missing a big chunk. Okay. And then like the errors are also based on like if you have everything, it's just done incorrectly. Okay. But if you ever question why you made something, you should email me, because one student did email me who had a 60, and it turned out that that was totally incorrect because they only had 1 error. So, I am human. I do manage a lot of classes. I have 4 of these 1102 classes. I have my high school classes, and sometimes just errors happen. I have children at home. I have annoying dogs. So sometimes I'm like in the zone doing stuff, but then I get distracted. Something happens. I think that I am typing in one thing, but I'm not. Just things occur. Okay. So if you are ever like, well, I don't see why I made an 80 when I only have 2 errors, then I could go back and look. And maybe it's because I cited 2 errors, but then you repeated those errors 2 more times. Like those are there. Then I might tell you that, well, I made 2 comments, but you made the same errors 2 more times later on, here and here. Okay. And then I'll try to explain to you. But then there are the few occurrences where I actually just made a mistake. Okay. Cool. All right. So this is a perfect. This was 100. Okay. Whenever I show student work, I always change the names. There is no one in our class named Reagan Andrews. And if for some reason I randomly chose a name that actually of someone who was in our class, this is not the Reagan Andrews actual paper. Okay. But here we have this is a 100. I did mostly formatting today. I mean, for this assignment, there is Andrews is up here in the header. I know it's in the header because see, it's gray. When it's correctly in the header, I have to double click to get there, and when I double click, it turns dark black. Okay, which is what I'm representing today. Black, 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 black. Great color. Okay, and see, look, there's a space between Andrews and the 1. Okay, that's correct. Here we have, this is all the same. Let's just do control all paragraph. All right. Everything's double. Everything's double. I don't notice any spaces between parts. Technically, this should be 0 and this should be 0. I see no change, no difference. So that's all good. Okay. We have our citation, and we have what's called the hanging indent. The first line lines up with the header, and then the subsequent lines are indented. Okay. A lot of people lost points on this. I'm going to show you a few errors who did not do this correctly. Okay. Also, we have the article. The article is in quotation marks. That's absolutely correct. That's like what I went over in the PowerPoint in the previous weeks. Titles of articles are in quotation marks. And then look, the New York Times is in italics. That is correct, as it should be. They should be in italics. All right. So that's good. And then we have a paragraph talking about this article. They discuss how people should be careful about how they speak or the language they use when it comes to people's identity. You don't want to use offensive language, especially with something as sensitive as identity. Now, look, I didn't grade your paragraphs for grammar. Okay. If I did, this right here would be a grammatical error. Because this should actually be a comma and this. But, I just do one thing at a time. Each assignment kind of has one focus at a time. So, like for this one, I wasn't really looking at grammar. All right. So that's fine. I was really looking at structure and formatting. Is the formatting correct? Do you have all the key elements there? Okay. For your papers, I will be grading grammar. And so that would have been an error. Okay. So they do this well. This quote, the periods inside the quotation mark, very nice, very good. Okay. Second source, same thing. It's formatted correctly. It has a nice paragraph. Okay. And the same thing with the last one. All right. We don't actually need that little space right here, but that's okay. Whatever. Psychology Today. Okay. So this looks good. Okay. That's a 100. Then we have some that are, let's see, with a few errors. Okay. This is by someone not named Dominique. I should probably put it in there, even though this is a fake name. Cushion. Okay. Some errors with this one. Notice this is not a hanging indent. This first line is indented some, and then these are not. That's incorrect. The first line of your source matches the same placement as the citation, as the header. Okay. And then these lines need to be indented. Now, some people have difficulty with this. If I put my cursor right in front of T and hit tab, it doesn't do anything. So I have to put it at the end right here, at the end of New York. And then I hit tab and it indents. I go over here, hit tab, and it indents. Okay. Okay. Same thing down here. Okay. That shouldn't be there. It should be like this. It's the way it should look. So like this person lost several points each time because these are all incorrectly formatted. That should be all the way over here. Click here, tab. Click here, tab. Okay. All right, there's that. Also, if you notice, there is more space between these than there should be. There's more space between here and here. There's more space between here and here than there should be. If we highlight this, go to paragraph, see here after 8, it says, after it says 8. This should be 0, not 12, 0. Now, when I hit OK, I want you to watch right here. Watch here while I hit OK. Boom, it moves. I know it seems insignificant, but it matters, okay? College is full of things that you might think are insignificant, but they matter, all right? So that kind of stuff needs to be fixed, all right? Okay, I'm not gonna go over the third one because I'm gonna run out of time. See, it's 8:47. So, but those are some examples of like why some people made higher grades than others. Actually, no, I need to go one more. Hold on, I do want to say one thing. Where is this? Oh, here we go. Okay. This is not Joseph Baker, but look, this one contains many errors as well, okay? For one, Baker 1 right here, there's no space. There's got to be space between the page number and the last name, okay? Next, there's way too much space between all these parts. Look at all this space. Go to 0 before, 0 after. Okay, now watch. Watch here when I push OK. Okay, it lightens it up. Okay, the whole thing needs to be double, 0, 0. The way you know everything's correct is when you select all and you go to paragraph and it says 0, 0, double. Okay, easy peasy. Okay, this is good. Look, this is good. All right. Now I will say this is too short. This is not a paragraph. This is two sentences, 2.5 lines. This person lost some points just because of effort. This right here, this is not college level. This needs to be twice as much. All right. Look at these other ones that I showed you before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yes, that's college level length. These are too short. Too short. Okay, too short. Lost points for that. All right. This is right here's the title of a article on Psychology Today. So therefore, this needs to be in quotation marks and it needs to be unitalicized. All right. Okay. So like this one lost points because the formatting was incorrect. The space here was not here. And these are this paragraph is too short. Okay. Just for the L record, just so you know. Okay. All right. Here we go. So there's that. All right. Let's look at this week's work. Here we go. Okay. Let's go to lessons. This is week 3. All right, assignment 7. Here we go. Big truths, little truths. Okay. In an MLA formatted document, answer the following questions. MLA formatted document. So you need to open up, go to the MLA template, open it up, use it correctly. In a 300-word response, objectively, what do you believe is the theme of this story? Oh, you know what I should do? Oops, 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 oops. Hold on, I need to fix that. So look, we are reading Cat Person by Kristen Ruppinen, and then you are reading The Ecstasy of Consent. Now, this is in the book. This short story is in the book, 529 to 542. But let's say you don't have a book. Let's say your book didn't come yet. You can copy it. Copy. Just go to the internet. Type it in. And you can come across it right here. Here it is. Cat person. Okay. All right. That's a real close-up of some facial hair. Wow. Okay. And it's about people making out, or no, more than that, hooking up. Okay. So this is a hookup story. All right. Don't read it in church. Be a little awkward. All right. So read this story. Okay. This is from the New Yorker. You can probably find it on other places as well. Here's a PDF of it. All right. Boom. Nice. Read it. Read it. The ecstasy of consent. I will post the author of this. This is a nonfiction piece. The ecstasy of consent article. Okay, Andrew Russell. Yeah. All right, so you can read this also. I mean, you're supposed to read this, but you can read it also online as well. Okay. If you don't have the book, read it here. Okay. All right. And then all right, and then I'm going to modify. This is about cat person specifically. Okay. So I'm just going to write the story. Now, I want to, even though this is about, these two are about cat person, the story. Okay. You can use, I would like for it, it'd be great if you use the ecstasy of consent in your responses to this as well, especially number 2. In a 300-word response, personally, what statement or understanding about something specific do you draw from this piece from cat person? You know, you might, after you read the ecstasy of consent, I think it might maybe help you understand or see this story differently. All right. Okay. So I'll modify that. Boom. There you go. Okay. So we're talking about big truths and little truths. What does that even mean? Okay. Well, let's go over the PowerPoint. And by the time this lecture is uploaded, you will see right here a link to the PowerPoint notes. Okay. So we're gonna go over this, and this will be the last thing. Let's see if it shines here. Oh, it doesn't even do that. Here we go. All right, hold on. I'm trying to get it so that way. Oh, you know what? I'll change my Zoom screen. I'm trying to get you to see the dang thing. Stop share. All right. Get ready. Okay. Themes and types of truths. Here we go. All right. So we have thematic topics and we have themes. Thematic topics are topics that are covered in a story. These are like one word or simple phrases. Okay. War, love, friendship, brotherhood, vengeance. Cold Mountain is a great film and book. And that's about war, and that's about love, and it's about friendship. Okay. Now, we don't get much from thematic topics. Theme is what we develop from pulling from the thematic topic. We take the topic and we develop it into an actual statement. A theme is the life lesson, author's message, or moral of a story. Okay. Now remember, look, A life lesson, an insight about life is different than a moral. Sometimes the insight is negative. Okay. And then also some books and films and stories are written with a very strong author's message. Like if you read The Hate You Give, that has a very strong message from the author. The author is clearly trying to convey a very specific message to the people. Okay. The theme is the author's message, but other authors write stories in which they're sending out messages about life that necessarily they might not actually believe or do. Some writers come off very pessimistic and dark, even though in their own lives they're very optimistic, and vice versa. They might write a story about God, but in real life be an atheist. So the theme is not always the author speaking to the audience. They're just creating a story that challenges, insights. Themes are complete sentences. Okay. So like war is a thematic topic. A theme would be like war can cause post-traumatic stress. Actually, there should be an S there. Post-traumatic stress syndrome that can negatively impact a person's ability to feel happiness and comfort. And that's very much a theme from Cold Mountain, where we have this main character Inman who goes up to the Civil War, and a line he gives towards the end of it is how if he had any good in him left, he shot it dead, and that he was ruined and broken, and that he felt that he would not ever be a good partner to Ada, which is why I don't want to spoil the ending, but the ending you might think is sad, but it's actually the best ending for Inman. Okay. One story can have multiple themes. I mean, if you talk to anybody about what they think the meaning of a movie is, you will be oftentimes in total different, disagreements or to see it differently. One person sees it one way. I know this all the time with my wife. I think I understand the film, and then she tells me, I'm an idiot, and that she knows what the film's about. Same thing with books. Okay, one story can have multiple themes. Readers have to make inferences to determine themes in literature because themes are not directly stated. Most of the time, again, if you get a story that is what we call a didactic, like the author wrote this to teach you a moral, then yeah, it's very obvious. But many themes are not as obvious. In order to determine the theme of a story, readers have to think beyond the small details. Okay. Readers must figure out the big world lesson of the text. Now, look, what I'm having you do this semester by reading these novels that had been adapted into film, you're not going to be writing about like the differences in the books and the film in terms of what happens. Okay. You are going to be talking about the differences in theme, how a book's theme changes or is possibly altered by the adaptation of it. We are not writing a comparison contrast essay about like, well, in the book, she marries Jake. And in the movie, she just sleeps with Jake, but they don't get married. Like, no, I don't care about that. We are going to be talking about themes. How are themes changed from the way that we read it to the way we watch it, okay? So this topic right here that we're discussing right now, thematic topics, big T's and little T's, is going to be the central focus of the book that you are reading and the film adaptation of it, and for essay 3. So even though this discussion is happening during unit 1 and essay 1, it's also going to play a huge factor in essay 3. You hear me? You are not writing a comparison contrast of the plot of the story. You're going to be discussing themes. All right, so common thematic topics. Again, the following are not themes. They are common topics or big ideas. Courage, hard work, kindness, being yourself, doing the right thing, acceptance, fears, honesty, acceptance. Okay, whatever. Let me move this. Thank you. Thematic topics can develop into positive themes or negative themes. For example, positive themes. Some stories attempt to spread positive messages that help audience learn important values or lessons. So, for example, be careful what you wish for. Honesty is the best policy. Crime doesn't pay. These are stories that maybe like the action or the main hero, the main person suffers, but like we are learning positive lessons from these themes, okay? And so they're not actually upholding negative or bad ideas. But like be careful what you wish for, or like don't be greedy. We get that from A Christmas Carol. Sacrifice leads to reward. We're all the same on the inside. You read, you watch things like especially a lot of films that are about race, like I'm just not thinking about this film, Billy Bob Thornton, and how he ends up, he's a racist. His dad's a terrible racist, but then he ends up falling in love with a black woman and overcoming those things. Okay. Um, these are positive. Money cannot buy happiness. I just watched The Family Man with uh, Nicholas Nick the guy from Face Off, whatever his name is, Nicholas Cage. And that whole thing is supposed to be about how he thinks he's happy because he's rich, but really he would be a lot happier if he had a family. Love conquers all that kind of good stuff. Okay. But then other books, novels, stories, poetry, and film uh, cover negative themes. Okay. Some stories focus on the negative aspects of life and purposefully explore messages that help audience experience the darker side of life. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. Weak people will not prosper. I mean, I don't believe that necessarily. I mean, that's real negative. But the idea that maybe, this is like a survival of the fittest type of thing, whether that's Darwinian socially, or physically. Maybe the stories about how violence does solve problems. Sometimes you just need to get out there and like whoop some A and kill people. I mean, that's terrible. There's a great song by The Clash about murder, and there's a line that says, I've been hungry a lot of times, but never hungry enough to kill someone. And so, but there's plenty of stories where, yeah, we have main characters who are doing terrible, violent things to solve problems. Maybe the whole story is about how the best laid plans go astray. That like, no matter how hard you work, that idea of the American dream is a lie. That no matter how much effort you put into something, how dedicated, how hard you work, you still might totally fail in life. That sucks. Oh my God, it's so sad, but it's the truth. Okay. The good guy does not always win. Okay. So we do not need to write always about positive things or be reading things that have positive, happy endings. Sometimes they are a total smack in the face. Okay. All right. So to determine theme, I could ask yourself, what did the characters learn? How did the characters grow or change? Why did the characters act this way? What does it all mean? What does the author want us to feel as an audience? Okay. It can be how you interpret it. It can be also, based upon like, the evidence of the text as it, really kind of should be. All right. Now, big truths and themes versus little truths, little themes. Big truths, intentional themes, themes that encompass the entire piece, truths you learn from the entire story. Okay. As a whole, not, the whole book overall, the whole message, the big umbrella idea. Okay. And then there are little truths. Little truth is like unintentional themes, little lessons you learn, or that things that the story communicates in small little scenes between people or individuals. Minute little details that pop up. Themes that arise from one scene, character, or aspect of the story. What can we learn about life from not the main character, but from the side characters, the supporting cast? What did they teach us? Even though that's not what the big overall picture is, okay? But what is that? What can we still pull from these little side points? Truths you learn from specific parts of the story, okay? Again, they're isolated. They are not the overall theme of the story, okay? But from my conversations, little truths you learn that we could learn about life, about what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a man, what it means to be gay, what it means to Be in a loveless relationship. What does it mean to be poor? Blah, 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 blah. All right, that's it. So that's what you're doing this week. You're thinking about big truths and little truths. This is not just associated with Cat Person, but as you're reading your novel, you need to be thinking about big truths and little truths. You might come across some little truths that that your novel makes that are not even in the film adaptation, and that's something that we'll be asking about. Okay, what are some little truths that you learn along the way, that from scene to scene, that are not necessarily part of the big picture of the entire novel, but that are captured in maybe just a chapter? And does that appear in the film adaptation? Okay. I will try to, as we move through this, progress through this, provide some examples from scenes from books, that chapters from books that don't matter to. Okay, I can think of one right now where essentially there's a chapter in of Mice and Men where we have this black character Crooks talking to one of the characters, Lenny, and he is talking about discrimination, social discrimination, the racism that he has faced, and how people don't care. Okay, and like you could take that whole chapter out of the book and you still have the overall themes and store and major plot development and climax and all that of Mice and Men. You could totally omit that chapter. But by doing so, you would also, though, take out some of the smaller conversations about discrimination in general, racism, how the world itself is set up to keep certain people from accessing power. Okay. Rather than just like it being like fated. Okay. Of Mice and Men has this idea that it's like you can't change your fate, but like this one chapter kind of brings it down to also, though, that like even if one reason why you can't change your fate is because society has built up walls not allowing you to, but you could remove that and you still have the overall idea of the book. Okay. So small themes are little side themes that are insightful, and there is a message. It is something that is a truth, but it does not necessarily is not the main point of the entire piece. Okay, which is the big theme, the big truths. All right, so give that a try with Cat Person. Okay. I hope the reading doesn't embarrass you. I mean, I imagine a lot of people here have watched Euphoria. So if you've ever watched Euphoria, you won't be embarrassed by reading the story. Okay. So, or Game of Thrones. Okay. All right. Email me if you have any questions. Talk to me. If after watching this, you're still not totally like about theme, big theme, small theme, it's okay. It's going to be a semester-long conversation about it. All right. I'm starting it now, but I'm telling you, every single paper, all 3 papers that we discuss from here to the end is going to deal with theme. Okay. Big truths and small truths. All right. See you later. Have a great week. Email me if you need anything.